Do you ever feel like you can't figure out how to handle the complicated parts of life and relationships? A lot of successful people are looking to Stoic advice for how to handle life's ups and downs. Get a pen and paper ready, because you're going to want to write down these 10 rules that every great man should follow. It was the Roman philosopher Seneca who said, "If you want to be loved, love." In a world where solitude is often feared, it is important to welcome it as a friend on the path to self-realization. Being afraid of being alone can really affect how we make choices, leading us to give up on relationships in order to avoid feeling lonely. Real friendship, on the other hand, starts with loving and understanding yourself. Here are some strategies for dealing with solitude. Welcome solitude to learn more about yourself. There is a deep journey of self-discovery and personal growth that we go on when we are alone. Marcus Aurelius, speaking about self-reflection, said, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will always bubble up if you are willing to dig." Being alone is a great way to explore the depths of our souls and find our deepest fears, hopes, and desires. Real friendship starts inside. Zeno, who started Stoicism, says that living in peace with yourself is very important. Seeking praise from others or depending on them is not the path to finding authentic friendship. The first step is to develop a deep sense of self-acceptance and happiness. When we really enjoy being with ourselves, we don't need approval from other people to feel good. Instead, we find comfort in the depths of our own minds. Relationships should be seen as gifts, not boundaries. Epicurus, a Stoic philosopher, told his students to pay attention to what they could change. Relationships should make our lives better, not make them worse. When we put self-love and self-respect first, we attract partners who share our values and goals. We don't have to stay in unhealthy or unfulfilling relationships because we're afraid of being alone. Instead, we choose to be with people who make our lives better. The second rule is to keep your past safe. In this day and age of too much knowledge and constant scrutiny, Marcus Aurelius's words have a deep meaning. It said, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." When you keep your past secret, you also keep your inner world sacred. Keep your past safe by following these steps. Enjoy the lessons. Keep yourself safe. There are many happy and sad events in your life that have made you into the person you are now. Like a valuable family treasure, it holds lessons and insights that have shaped your character and set you on your path. But not every listener should be able to see private parts of your life. Be careful about sharing your past, because not everyone should know what's in it. Be aware of the risks of sharing everything with everyone. It's hard to say no to sharing every detail of our personal past with the public in a world where people want to overshare and get what they want right away. What starts out as an act of openness and weakness can quickly become something that can be used for gossip, judgment, and abuse. So be careful. People shouldn't use your past to hurt your present or decide what will happen in the future. Accept moving forward. Without a question, your past has had a big impact on who you are today, but it does not define you. Protecting your past doesn't mean holding on to old stories or letting mistakes from the past bother you. It's about accepting that growth and resolve can change things. Use your past to help you grow as a person, giving you new meaning and drive as you move forward. Third principle, balance what's important. Finding balance is important for living a truly happy life in a world full of constant distractions and bills that never seem to go away. Seneca said something very wise about how important it is to make sure that our responsibilities are in line with our ideals and goals. We waste a lot of time, not that we don't have much time to live. Here's how to set priorities. When goals are wrong, bad things can happen. When we focus on someone else instead of our own goals and health, it's like losing time, which is a valuable resource. The promise in our lives leaks away without us noticing until it's too late to get it back. Not only do goals that are out of order make us unhappy, but they also keep us from pursuing our interests and achieving our dreams. Set goals and self-care as top priorities. It is important to put our goals and self-care ahead of our relationships if we want to find happiness and unity. Like a farmer who takes care of the earth and each plant's needs, we need to take care of our own goals and well-being. Don't forget that you can't pour from a cup that's not full. Putting money into yourself is not selfish. It's an important thing to do. Try to get along. Finding true happiness doesn't come from trying to impress other people or getting more stuff. It comes from making sure that our actions are in line with our values and goals. Try to find balance in every part of your life and be sure to keep your promises to both yourself and others. Seek unity in everything you do, whether it's following a job interest, building important relationships, or putting self-care first. Accept what satisfaction is all about. We find the real meaning of happiness when we try to find balance. We aren't judged by how many things we've done or how many awards we get. Instead, we are judged by the quality of our experiences and the strength of our relationships. When our interests are in line with our beliefs and goals, we can live a life full of purpose, meaning, and happiness. The fourth principle is to put your mental health first. The world is full of stress and uncertainty right now, so it's important to put your mental health first. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Your thoughts have a big impact on how you see the world and the things that happen to you, which shows how important it is to put your mental health first. To put your mental health first, do these things. Why mental health is important. Your mental health is an important part of your general health. It needs care and attention to grow, just like a fragile environment. Taking care of your mental health improves it, just like exercise strengthens the body. This lets you handle life's problems with power and ease. Keep your inner peace safe with all your might. It can be hard to remember how important it is to find inner peace in a society that values being busy and getting things done. But it's important to keep your peace, to keep your emotions in check and your inner calm. Set limits that are good for your mental health, like spending less time with people who are bad for you or making your daily life a peaceful haven. Take care of yourself first. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's an important investment in your health. Make it a priority to do things that are good for your mind, body, and soul, like being thoughtful, being artistic, or spending time in nature. Self-care should be a top concern. Don't make sacrifices to meet the needs of others. A lot of the time, we put other people's demands and praise ahead of our own mental health. Remember that your worth is not based on how well you meet other people's standards of success or beauty. If you want to fit in or get approval from other people, don't put your health at risk. Accept that you are weak sometimes, but see that as a strength and value your honesty more than anything else. When you need help, ask for it. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's a brave way to recognize your humanity. Do not be afraid to ask for help when you need it, whether it's through a trusted friend, therapy, or a support group. Being vulnerable helps you connect with others and build grit, which lets you handle life's problems with more ease and grace. Develop habits that are good for you. Having a healthy food is good for your body, and developing habits that are good for your mind and soul is also important for your mental health. Find what makes you happy and fulfilled and incorporate it into your daily habit, whether it be practicing gratitude, journaling, or working out regularly. Rule number 5, be honest with yourself. Seneca said, "It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable." Authenticity is your strength, not just a virtue. Staying true to yourself is a brave statement against failure and a sign of your inner strength in a world that frequently encourages conformity. Here are some things you can do to be yourself. Accept how different you are. Your uniqueness is what makes you valuable. Instead of trying to fit in with what other people want or with social rules, be yourself and let your light shine. Just like a gem is valued for how rare it is, you should value how real you are. You should be proud of your quirks, mannerisms, and other oddities because they make you unique. Follow your beliefs in your daily life. To live truly, you have to be in line with your ideals and goals. Take the time to figure out what's most important to you and let that lead your choices and activities. Listen to your feelings and stay true to your beliefs, whether it means standing up for what you believe in, following your dreams, or making your own way. Get better at saying no. Being honest with yourself and learning to say no is a freeing thing to do. Too often, we give up our ideals or go above and beyond to make other people happy, which hurts our own health. But you're really strong when you set limits and put your own needs and wants first. Remember that telling someone no is the same thing as telling yourself yes to being yourself. Have faith in your inner sense. Be sure to follow your inner direction as you seek to understand yourself and find happiness. You can trust your gut to lead you to your true north, just like sailors use the North Star to find their way on the water. Practice being thoughtful and self-aware and pay attention to what your heart is telling you. There is a way to real happiness inside of you that you just need to trust and follow. Sixth principle, keep ties going. Zeno, the famous founder of Stoicism, knew how important society and relationship are to the human experience. The greatest blessing of mankind comes from social life. In a world where love relationships are often ignored or underrated, it's important to put family and friendship relationships first as well. Here's how to keep ties going and make your links with other people better. One is how important society and relationships are. We humans are social by nature. We need to connect with others and feel like we fit. In the same way that a tree gets food from its roots, our ties give us power and support. Our relationships make our lives better in so many ways, whether it's laughing with friends, getting advice from family, or just being there for a loved one when they need it. To put money into building relationships. Sexual relationships are wonderful, but they're not the only way people connect with each other. In your quest of personal love, don't forget about the bonds of friendship and family. Spend time and effort on these relationships. They are your strong base and will bring you comfort when things are hard and joy when things are good. Aside from personal relationships, it's important to keep up lasting relationships with other people. You can do this by planning regular get-togethers with friends, family, or participating in group activities. Find a mix. To be truly happy, you need a support system that includes both sexual partners and close friends and family. Find the right mix between romantic relationships and friendships, and know that each one has its own role to play in your life. Romantic love can make you feel passionate and close, but friendship and family relationships offer constant support and love no matter what. Build a wide range of relationships that feed your soul and lift your spirit, giving you a sense of community and belonging wherever you go. Seventh principle, managing your time well. We need to strongly guard our valuable time against interruptions and other requests in our lives. You can use time management to get things done, reach your goals, and put your health first. Time is the most valuable thing you have. Time is the great balancer because it is the only thing that can't be replaced. A skilled worker treats each valuable stone with great care, and you should do the same with your time. Know that every moment is a chance to work on your happiness, growth, and satisfaction. Do not put too much in other people. It's important to make real ties with other people, but don't let your involvement with them take over your own goals and well-being. Set limits and learn to organize your goals in order of importance, making good use of your time. Remember that turning down things that aren't important to you and responsibilities that don't fit with your goals is the same thing as saying yes to yourself and your goals. Set limits and order your goals. Setting clear limits is an important part of managing your time well. Figure out what your core values, goals, and interests are, and then use them to decide how to spend your time and energy. Plan how you spend your days on purpose, whether it's setting aside focused blocks of time to work on important projects or making time for self-care and rest. Do not give in to distractions or responsibilities. Learning how to say no to requests can make all the difference in the world, giving you back control over your time and focus. Think about how each time-demanding task fits in with your goals and responsibilities. If a duty or distraction doesn't fit with your values, or help you grow as a person, or make you happier generally, don't be afraid to say no or give it to someone else. Eighth principle: authenticity in talking to people. No man is free who is not master of himself, Epictetus said, emphasizing how important it is to be honest when communicating. Being honest in your relationships is a strong act of freedom and ethics. To use the power of honest conversation to build real relationships and respect for each other, do the following. Tell the truth with all your heart. Authenticity is built on being honest. If you have to stand alone, tell the truth with passion and honesty. Like a strong oak tree can stand up to strong winds, your honesty can stand up to the storms of doubt and criticism. Believe that your voice is strong and that what you're saying is true. Talk about your wants, needs, and goals. Transparency and openness are necessary for authentic conversation. You can be open and honest about your wants, needs, and goals without worrying about being judged or punished. Let your words run easily, like a river that doesn't have any walls or other obstacles in its way. Authenticity leads to real relationships and understanding between people. Accept being forceful. Being bold doesn't mean being mean. It means being sure to say what you want and need. In talks or other settings where your voice matters, be sure of yourself and say what you want to say. You have the power to stand up for yourself and your interests with ease and confidence, like a cougar protecting her pride. Make a real bond. Authentic communication helps people bond in a way that is based on trust, understanding, and respect for each other. Whether you're talking about your weaknesses with a trusted friend or having deep talks with people you care about, be real in everything you do. Just like a plant grows roots in rich soil, real bonds can grow in the rich ground of authenticity. Keeping a fair view is the ninth principle. It's important to take back control of your thoughts and feelings in a world where too much focus can cloud your judgment and lower your self-esteem. A wise man named Marcus Aurelius once said, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." If you want to break free from the chains of intense loyalty and regain the freedom of self-discovery and self-worth, follow these steps. Don't forget your own worth. A wrong belief that our worth depends on their approval and support can lead to being too dedicated to someone else. Real self-worth, on the other hand, comes from inside and isn't affected by what's going on outside. Remember that you have worth and are special as a person. Just like a diamond shines brightly no matter what it's near, you can give off confidence and self-assurance no matter what other people think. Keep your mind on yourself. Spend some time with yourself and get excited about your hobbies, talents, and sense of purpose again. When we become too focused on someone else and lose sight of our own goals and dreams, this is called obsessive love. Take the time to work on your own growth and development. This will help you find a sense of meaning and satisfaction that goes beyond needing approval from other people. Accept that you can improve yourself and grow as a person. Stop focusing on other people and put your energy into getting better and growing as a person. Like a good grower, you can take care of your own potential and watch it grow. Try new things, make your goals big, and push yourself to reach your full potential. Get free of your passion. Obsession can be a complicated and smothering force that keeps you from growing as a person. Mindfulness and self-awareness can help you get rid of your obsessions. Pay attention to any thoughts that are keeping you from doing something else and slowly shift your focus to something more useful. Enjoy the freedom of finding out about and accepting yourself, knowing that your worth doesn't depend on what other people say. 10th principle, be proud of what you've done. The famous Stoic philosopher Seneca showed us how to find true happiness by saying, "We suffer more often in our imagination than in reality." Seneca believed that every accomplishment, no matter how small, shows how strong, determined, and hard-working you are. Follow these steps to follow Seneca's advice and develop a spirit of self-celebration and gratitude in your life. Be proud of what you've done. Every trip starts with one step, and every success, no matter how small, should be celebrated. Take pride in your accomplishments and remember how hard you worked and how long you kept going. Like a farmer who loves the first flower of spring, you can enjoy the results of your hard work. Honor growth and important milestones. Life is a trip, not a goal, and every big step you take along the way is something to be proud of. When you hit a personal goal, get past a struggle, or make progress toward your dream, be sure to recognize and enjoy your success. You can enjoy the times of success along your road in the same way that travelers stop to take in the view from the top of a mountain. Develop an attitude of gratitude. Being thankful is the key to being happy and fulfilled. Grow an attitude of gratitude for the chances, good things, things you have, and things you have done. A farmer's heart is filled with joy when there is a bumper crop. You can feel the same way when you recognize the wealth around you. Accept yourself as you are. Don't wait for other people to tell you how valuable and successful you are. Honor your journey and yourself by realizing how hard you've worked and how far you've come. In the same way that an artist proudly signs their work, you can also say what you bring to the world and how valuable you are. Words can't always compete with silence. This thought might not make sense, especially in today's world where the biggest opinions often get our attention. But what if I told you that some of the most important people in history were able to persuade others without saying a word? In today's busy world, this is the core of Stoicism, a philosophy that not only lives on, but also grows, because it shows us the power of inner peace and the deep effects of our actions that we don't say. We will now talk about how Stoicism, a philosophy based on the writings of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, can change not only how you see yourself, but also how other people see you without you even saying a word. The Stoic ideas we'll talk about today offer useful, doable steps that can make a big difference in your life, whether you want to improve your personal relationships, your behavior at work, or just your overall sense of peace. If you've ever felt like you were ignored no matter how hard you tried, or if you want a more honest way to show off your values and ideals, stay tuned. Take a trip into the quiet but strong world of Stoicism. It might change the way you see the world. 1. Take care of yourself with honor. Stoicism, a philosophy that values keeping ethics and having control over one's responses, teaches us that it's not about showy behavior. It's about having real self-respect and making other people value you through your deeds. Stoicism tells us to act in a way that shows calm confidence and self-assurance without making loud claims about our worth. This is what it means to present ourselves with respect. Carrying yourself with a high head when you walk into a room and paying close attention when other people talk are both signs of it. It's about making eye contact and shaking hands firmly, which shows that you're there and responsible, not just physically but also mentally and emotionally. But Stoic honor is more than just how you look and behave in public. It has its roots in virtue. According to the Stoics, virtue means that your deeds should match your morals. In both public and private life, it means being fair, brave, responsible, and smart. You are following Stoic honor when you choose to be honest, even when things are hard and it might be easier to give up your values. Becoming honest when you're wrong could be very easy, or it could be very hard to stand up for someone else's rights when it's not cool or safe to do so. To live this out every day, you have to make choices that show who you really are and who you want to be. It's about sticking to your ideals no matter what. By being consistent, you send a strong word to those around you about what you stand for. This builds trust and respect with enemies, friends, and even co-workers. Stoicism tells us to let go of the noise around us and focus on what we can control: our actions, our reactions, and our beliefs. This will help us live with honor. You don't have to put on a tough guy or apathy face to get through this. Instead, it's about becoming truly self-sufficient so that you can handle the ups and downs of life with ease. Having pride means knowing how much you're worth, loving yourself enough to live by your values, and respecting others enough to treat them with the same respect. It's about the quiet confidence that comes from sticking to your own morals and not getting approval from other people. This is what Stoic honor is all about: being quiet but strong, humble but wise. 2. Know how much you're worth. Stoics say that knowing your true worth isn't about keeping track of your accomplishments or awards. It's about realizing that you have value on your own, regardless of what other people say. Not only is this idea important for boosting self-esteem, it's also important for developing real self-respect and living a life that is in line with your core values. Stoicism tells us to look inside ourselves when we talk about knowing our worth. Thinking about what you can control, your thoughts, your deeds, and your responses, was a common theme among Stoics like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius. These are the places where your real worth shows. It doesn't matter how much praise or criticism you get. What matters is how you keep your word, handle your responsibilities, and give back to your community in ways that are in line with your values. But how do you really know what you're worth in real life? It starts with thinking about yourself. Spend some time with yourself and learn what you can and can never do. Stoicism doesn't teach how to be perfect. It teaches how to get better. Think about how you deal with problems. Do you give up when things get tough, or do you rise to the task and learn and grow from it? How you respond in these situations says a lot about who you are and how much you're worth. Dealing with other people in a way that shows respect for yourself is another Stoic practice. Stoics believe in sympathia, the idea that everything in the world depends on everything else. So, treat other people with respect and honor. This makes you feel better about your own self-worth. When you treat others the way you want to be treated, you show that you stand for what you believe in and that you are valuable. Also, Stoics believe that living virtuously shows how valuable they are. In Stoicism, the greatest good is virtue, which means living in a way that is wise, brave, fair, and moderate. In order to know your worth, you must strive for these traits in all areas of your life, from your personal ties to your work. You build a sense of self that is not easily shaken by the ups and downs of life's outside situations when you live a good life. When you understand and accept your worth in this way, you don't need support from other people. No longer do you want praise or be afraid of being criticized, because you know that they don't make you valuable. This gives you the freedom to live a life that truly reflects your inner self, a life where you can stand strong in the face of hardship, sure of your worth and your path. Stoic philosophy says that knowing your worth means making sure that how you see yourself matches your greatest ideals, and that you always live in a way that shows those ideals. It's a journey that needs you to be honest, brave, and keep evaluating yourself. But it's also very satisfying. You'll find that your relationships and exchanges have more meaning as you become more aware of your own worth. This will make your life more satisfying. 3. Setting limits for yourself. Saying no to others is a deep Stoic practice that goes beyond that. Understanding your own boundaries and sticking to them out of self-respect and care for others is an important part of it. Stoicism, which focuses on self-mastery, autonomy, and inner freedom, teaches that setting and sticking to limits is not only a way to keep yourself safe, but also a way to live your life in a way that is true to your values. When we study Stoicism, we often talk about how to set limits for our own behavior and thoughts so that they stay in line with our values. Marcus Aurelius, for example, wrote a lot about keeping your mind on what's important and avoiding distractions and emotional outbursts that aren't necessary. He thought that he could control how he reacted to outside events. He saw this as a mental limit that kept him calm and moral no matter what. But how does this affect how we talk to other people? The first step is to realize that our time and energy are limited resources that need to be used wisely. Like a Stoic might keep their thoughts away from bad things and hopelessness, we should also keep our time and energy away from people and situations that drain us. This means learning to say no to requests that go against our morals and core tasks, and not feeling bad about putting our own health first. Setting limits can also mean keeping your mental area safe. Stoics like Seneca say it's important to hang out with people who are good for you and help you grow. They say we should stay away from people who could lead us to bad habits or trouble. In modern times, this might mean ending relationships that are unhealthy or too demanding, and spending time with people who make us feel good and support us instead. It's also important to communicate clearly when setting limits. It's about being clear and respectful about your wants and boundaries, without being hostile or passive. Being honest and clear in this way of talking to people is very Stoic because it helps us avoid manipulative or passive-aggressive actions that can cloud our relationships and our moral clarity. Setting limits also teaches us a lot about respect, both giving and getting it. Setting clear limits and sticking to them shows others how you want to be treated, which leads to relationships based on equal respect and understanding. In this part of Stoicism, you don't build walls. Instead, you know where your gates are, how to open them, and who you let in. Making choices that are in line with your best self is what it means to set and keep limits. It is a constant process that needs thought, change, and sometimes the guts to make choices that aren't easy. However, the freedom and peace that come from living a Stoic life, one in which you respect yourself and others respect you, are well worth the work. This way of doing things not only makes you more honest, but it also makes your relationships stronger by building them on equal respect and honest communication. 4. Making it harder to get in. Stoicism doesn't see limiting access as a way to be exclusive or superior. You need to value your own time and place in your mind. This Stoic practice shows us how important it is to be careful about the people and things we deal with, making sure that our energy is spent on relationships and activities that are truly helpful and in line with our values. It's not about how many ties and obligations we have, but how good they are. Being self-aware is the first step in the idea of limiting access. Epictetus and other Stoics say that we should know what we can control and put our efforts there. This means we need to take a good look at our lives and decide what really needs our time and care. Do you spend time doing things that make you feel good and help you grow? Do the good people in your life push you to live a good life? Stoicism doesn't tell us to shut ourselves off from the world. Instead, it tells us to carefully tend our yard and water the plants that produce the most fruit. When it comes to real life, limiting access can mean being very strict about your time. It could mean making the choice not to check your email or social media at certain times in the mornings and evenings to keep the peace. Saying no to social tasks that drain your energy instead of filling it up could also be part of it. This will make every yes you say more important and keep your resources from being wasted on things that don't help you. This rule also applies to limits of the mind and the emotions. Stoicism tells us not to let things going on in the outside world upset our inner peace. One way to keep the peace is to limit who can see our inner world. This doesn't mean becoming cold or uncaring. It just means deciding not to get involved in problems or fights that make you feel bad. It's about not letting everything going on around you change your mood and way of thinking. As an added bonus, limited access makes people value and respect your time and presence. People start to understand that your time is important and that being available is an honor, not a right. This shift changes how you see yourself, as well as how other people see you. It supports the Stoic idea that you should respect yourself and have a reason in life. In the end, limiting access is about making choices, choosing to spend your time and energy in ways that are in line with your values, and building relationships that are truly helpful and fulfilling. Instead of making a lot of shallow links all over the place, this limited method lets people associate in deeper, more important ways. It's about making your life more deep, not wider. This is a central idea of Stoic philosophy that has stood the test of time. 5. Get ready to leave. The Stoic idea of self-sufficiency is at the heart of being able to walk away. Some Stoics, like Seneca and Epictetus, said that being happy with yourself and your moral decisions was very important. It's supposed to never make you so attached to a situation, a job, or even a relationship that you can't move or stand up for what you believe in because you're afraid of losing it. Knowing when a part of your life isn't serving your better purpose or being in line with your core values is what it means to have the strength to walk away. When you decide to walk away, it's not an emotional reaction, but a well-thought-out choice based on what you know is best for you. Setting high standards for your personal and work life is what it's all about. In relationships, this could mean having the courage to end a connection that isn't healthy or doesn't help both people grow. In terms of careers, it could mean quitting a job that limits your growth or requires you to break your morals. Additionally, getting ready to leave is a form of self-respect, specifically respect for one's own life and decisions. It makes you feel even more in control of your life and gives you the freedom to surround yourself with people and circumstances that support your development, happiness, and virtue. It's about not taking what you don't earn and not holding on to things out of fear or security. Stoicism can help you see leaving not as a loss, but as a win, a step toward more freedom and truthfulness. You can find chances that are more in line with your true self when you are ready to leave settings that don't serve you. Being ready to let go also teaches resiliency by showing how temporary outside situations are and how strong a well-developed inner life is. Adopting this philosophy gives you a quiet security and a strong sense of inner calm. You know that no change in the outside world can really upset your peace of mind. This doesn't mean being disconnected from the world. It means being so strongly connected to your own values and sense of self that you can handle changes and difficulties with grace and ease. If you take this method, not only will your life be more satisfying, but other people will respect and admire you because they see that you are not easily moved by fear or luck. 6. How important it is to say no. Stoics believe that saying no is more than just refusing something. It's also a statement that you will not give in to wants or pressures that are not in line with your core beliefs and ideals. Stoicism is based on the idea that one should take control of one's own life and choices. Stoicism teaches us to be careful about the things we agree to do to make sure they are in line with our values. Marcus Aurelius stressed how important it was to act in line with one's nature and logical self. This means that we may have to turn down requests or chances that don't help our moral and personal growth. When you can say no, it shows that you are honest and have the guts to stick to your beliefs, even if it's hard or unpopular. This habit of saying no can show up in many areas of life, from small daily choices to big life decisions. It means saying no to invitations that would take us away from our goals, not doing things that would hurt our character, or even leaving relationships and places that are bad for us. When we say no, we're basically showing self-respect and protecting ourselves. This lets us focus our time, energy, and attention on things that are truly important and rewarding. Plus, saying no has power that goes beyond your own needs. It also affects how other people treat you. When you set clear limits for yourself, you show others how to treat you and what you're okay with in relationships and other activities. This not only helps people accept and understand each other better, but it also gives others the power to think about their own limits and how important it is to respect them. No has a lot of power in Stoic thought. It shows the difference between what we can control, like our actions, emotions, and choices, and what we can't control, like other people's actions, thoughts, and behaviors. We stay calm and free from stress by focusing on the choices we make and not letting outside factors affect them. Accepting the power of no is a big deal. It's a reaffirmation of your independence and an important step toward living a life true to yourself. Being deliberate and picky about which yes you give is important, making sure that each one is thoughtful, meaningful, and in line with your true self. It's not about being negative or unwilling to work with others. This is what it means to live stoically, not just getting through life's storms, but making choices that are well thought out during them. 7th, a healthy dose of doubt is important. Stoics believe that taking a careful, critical view of the world around you leads to a greater understanding and respect of life's complexities. This doesn't mean questioning everything to the point of pessimism. Stoicism, as taught by thinkers like Seneca and Epictetus, teaches that our initial thoughts or responses to things are not always the best or most helpful. Instead, they want people to take a moment to think and question things before making a decision or acting. The idea behind this practice is that our reasonable minds can tell the difference between truth and lies, and by using this ability, we can live happier, less impulsive lives. Having healthy doubt means that you don't believe everything you read or hear. Instead, you think about the source, the context, and the proof before you form an opinion. This is especially important in a time when information is available right away and is often false. When you look at things through a Stoic view, you're not just taking in information, you're actively interacting with it to make sure that what you accept as true fits with your beliefs and how you see the world. A good sense of doubt is also important in human ties. It tells you not to believe everything you see and to dig deeper into what other people are trying to say and do. You don't have to be suspicious of everyone. You just give yourself time to fully understand what they say and do before you respond. For instance, if someone criticizes you, don't defend yourself right away. Instead, think about it from their point of view. Could their criticism have some truth to it? Do you want to learn something? This way of doing things not only keeps you clear of mistakes, but it also helps you grow as a person by teaching you traits like kindness and care. Stoicism also says that having a good sense of doubt can help you avoid being let down by lowering your hopes. If you don't quickly think the best or worst about a situation, you keep a reasonable view that is less likely to be thrown off by life's ups and downs. Equanimity is a key idea in Stoic philosophy. It doesn't mean avoiding happiness or pain. It means having a calm state of mind that isn't affected by changes in the outside world. Stoic philosophy says that healthy doubt is not a way to remove yourself from the world, but a way to become more involved in it. Having a clear, logical understanding of the world helps you live a more thoughtful life and make choices that aren't just based on what you're experiencing on the surface. By training yourself to be skeptical, you give yourself the power to live a life that isn't based on responses, but on thoughtful, well-thought-out actions. Eighth, don't try to meet people or get their praise. Following someone around often comes from a need for outside approval or a fear of losing out, which are both antithetical to Stoic beliefs. Stoics like Epictetus said that the key to finding peace is to concentrate on our own deeds and upholding virtue in the face of adversity. We can protect our inner peace and keep our honor by not going after things that are out of our control. In everyday life, don't chase can mean not worrying too much about whether other people like or accept us, not giving in to unreasonable requests from others, or not going after goals that don't really fit with our core values. You have to be okay with the idea that things might not go as planned, and trust that by focusing on your own actions and feelings, you will stay true to what really counts. The Stoic way of life also teaches us about detachment, which is not the same as being alone or not caring about what happens. Instead, it means keeping a healthy distance from the results of things. It tells us to fully participate in life without getting too tied to any one result. This frees us from the emotional turmoil that often comes with our plans and expectations. In relationships, this could mean giving your all to a partnership without being very set in your ways about how the relationship should go. In the workplace, it could mean working hard and with energy without getting so attached to a raise or credit that it makes you unhappy. The Stoic advice to not chase means putting more value on what we give than what we get. Giving up on the end result and being okay with the process is what it's about. This way of thinking doesn't take away from desire or the drive to do your best, but it does change what success means to you by focusing on honesty and the happiness that comes from knowing you've been true to yourself. If we think this way, we won't be driven by the need for approval from other people, but by the satisfaction that comes from knowing we are living our ideals and ethics. 9. Love without conditions. A big part of Stoicism is accepting and knowing that everyone, including ourselves, is a part of the natural order of things, with our own flaws and strengths. This is called selfless love. It makes us more empathetic and compassionate toward others, remembering that they are also trying to make sense of the complicated things in life. To love in this way, we have to learn to be patient, tolerant, and not get back at people, even when they are mean or angry. To show pure love in everyday situations, we have to stay calm and accepting, even when other people don't respond the way we'd like them to. People who practice it promise to treat others with kindness and respect, no matter what they do or how they act, which can test our own emotional reactions. This doesn't mean putting up with abuse or neglect. It means dealing with bad things from a place of knowing instead of reacting. The philosophy of Stoicism also tells us that being able to love without conditions can make us stronger. We have more control over our emotions when we separate our well-being from other people's actions and reactions. This distance isn't about not caring. It's about getting ready to face life's difficulties with a calm mind and heart, not one that is moved by the changing winds of outside circumstances. We can also love ourselves without any conditions. Stoics value self-acceptance, which entails accepting our flaws and differences with kindness and understanding. This kind of selfless love is very important because it shapes how we treat other people. There is a better chance that we can accept and love others when we can love and accept ourselves without conditions. According to Stoicism, unconditional love is not just a feeling, it is also a focused virtue that includes careful thought, smart action, and a strong dedication to the greater good. Building connections based on real care and respect for the well-being of others, not on selfish gain, is what it's all about. This way of thinking about love not only makes our relationships better, but it also fits with the Stoic goal of having a happy, purposeful life. Remember that you shouldn't base your whole life on one person. Stoicism, which stresses personal virtue and inner peace, tells us to live a life where our happiness and peace don't rest too much on what other people do, how they feel, or what they think of us. In real life, this means making sure we have a lot of personal goals, hobbies, and activities that we do besides our relationships. Stoics value relationships with other people, like friendships, family, and romantic relationships. However, they also strongly believe that each person should be able to find their own way to virtue. This way of thinking helps people avoid the common mistake of tying too much of their identity and mental health to another person. This can cause sadness and emotional pain if relationships end or problems arise. If you get all of your sense of self-worth and purpose from a love relationship or a close friendship, for example, you might feel lost if that relationship ends or gets tense. Stoicism teaches us to find value and happiness in many different things. This could mean finding a job that fits with your values, doing hobbies that push you, coming up with your own philosophy, or doing community work that makes you feel like you're making a difference for the better. Setting and sticking to limits that protect your time and mental energy is another part of this Stoic concept. It tells you to say no to requests that make it harder for you to meet your own needs and grow. It means caring about your own time and place as much as you care about other people's. This isn't greed. It's a form of deep self-respect that knows you need to grow as a person along with your connections. Additionally, when you don't base your whole life on one person, you make your relationships stronger. Each person adds their own skills, hobbies, and points of view to the relationship, which makes it stronger instead of using it as a crutch for their own fears or unmet needs. This mix between being together and being yourself is important for any long-lasting relationship that works for both people. Stoic advice tells us that we should not let another person's needs control our entire lives. This shows us how to be strong. Our inner base and sense of self are strengthened so that we can handle the changes and challenges that come with life. Being ready not only makes our own lives better, but it also makes us better family, friends, and partner members by making us more present and mentally stable. 11. Goodness. The Stoic commitment to virtue isn't just about doing the right thing. It's also about living a life that is deeply satisfying and strong when things change. In philosophy, virtue is what makes a life good. It's not a strict set of rules, but a concept that helps us make decisions and deal with people every day. The Stoics believed that virtue is made up of four main parts: knowledge, courage, justice, and moderation. Wisdom is the acquisition of knowledge, especially knowledge about oneself and the knowledge of the right way to act. It's not enough to be brave when you're in physical danger. You also need to have the moral strength to do the right thing even when it's hard. Justice means being fair to others, acting like a part of a group, and respecting their rights and feelings. Temperance, also known as self-control, refers to the ability to restrain our urges and wants in order to live in line with our real needs and objectives. Adding virtue to your life means making choices that are always in line with these ideals. You have to pick what's right, not just what's easiest. A Stoic would tell you to choose the road that is most in line with these ideals when you have to make a tough choice at work or in your personal life. This could mean sticking up for a coworker who is being treated poorly, keeping your cool when provoked, or helping a friend in need, even when it's not handy. To live virtuously, you must also see problems as chances to grow. Stoicism says that problems are not things that keep us from being happy. They are chances to show how committed we are to our values. When we face trials with virtue, we not only get through them, but our character and strength also grow. This point of view changes how we deal with the ups and downs of life, making each moment into a chance to stand up for what we believe in. In Stoicism, virtue is also closely linked to mental peace. When our deeds are in line with our core ideals, we have less conflict within ourselves. Knowing that your deeds are in line with your values can bring you a deep sense of peace. This harmony lowers stress and raises self-esteem, which leads to a calm and happy mind. The search for virtue is an ongoing process that lasts a lifetime. Not being perfect is not the point. The point is to be the best version of ourselves. It makes our lives better, strengthens our relationships, and gives us a way to find our way in a world that is often complicated and uncertain. Stoicism tells us to think of virtue not as a job, but as a way to find freedom and happiness in life, a road that is both difficult and satisfying. To find virtue and mental peace, remember that small, strong choices every day are the way to go. Take the ideas we've talked about to heart and let them lead you to a life with meaning and peace. Life can put a lot of stress on us at times, which can steal our happiness and health. But what if there was a peaceful way to make these problems go away? We're going to learn about Stoicism and how to get rid of 11 problems in your life without drawing attention to them in today's movie. To live a happier and more important life, it's time to find inner peace and build a strong mind. Also, I challenge you to read this all the way through so that you can get the most out of it. In the last few minutes, we'll talk about some very important things that will really change your life. You won't want to miss them. Explaining ourselves to people who hurt us. When we think about how complicated human relationships are, especially when we're in situations that make us unhappy or hurt, we have to make a basic choice to protect our emotional integrity. Stoic philosophy tells us that it is of great value to protect our inner peace by choosing not to defend or argue with people who have hurt us. This choice not only keeps us safe, but it also brings us peace of mind, which is important for our mental and emotional health. Keeping a quiet distance from people who bother our peace is a way to support our worth and respect. We can keep our mental balance and put our energy into relationships that are truly helpful and rewarding if we choose not to add to arguments and drama. The Stoics teach us that being quiet and shutting down are signs of power, not weakness. Self-mastery, which is one of the most important ideas in Stoic thought, means choosing not to respond to things that make you angry. This method not only helps mental scars heal, but it also creates a place for self-reflection and growth. One of the most important ideas in Stoicism is that distance lets us notice our feelings without letting them take over. In this way, facing those who hurt us with peace and honesty is a man who has demonstrated true resolve. Stoics think that we should use reason and self-discipline to decide how to react to problems in the outside world. Not having to explain yourself or get into a big fight is not only a way to avoid problems that aren't necessary, it's also a great way to keep your peace and show that you have control. By going this route, We are not only stating that we are emotionally independent, but we are also making it easier for ourselves to deal with problems in the future in a calm and determined way. This method not only keeps the peace, but also lifts our spirits, since it's in line with Stoic ideas about being brave and smart. Unnecessary goals. As we go through life, we often have goals that don't help us move forward, but instead make us feel overwhelmed and take our attention away from what's really important. Most of the time, these pointless goals are just a copy of other people's standards or ideas that don't fit with who we really are. Stoicism tells us to always evaluate ourselves and to carefully look at our goals to see which ones are real and which ones we just made up without thinking about them. During this self-reflection process, it's important to figure out which goals aren't in line with our real purpose and let go of them. This job is hard, but it's necessary to keep our focus and ethics. When we get rid of goals that don't serve us, we're not just making a small change, we're actually cleaning out our lives deeply, getting rid of what holds us back and making room for the personal and spiritual growth we really want. Giving up on these pointless goals should be done with incredible care, showing that we are mature and value each other's paths. This action doesn't need any attention or praise from others. It's a change within, a quiet statement of freedom from social standards. We renew our commitment to living in line with our core ideals as we do this practice in truthfulness. Letting go of goals that aren't matched with our values not only frees up emotional and temporal resources, but it also makes us stronger and more self-aware. A Stoic practice that emphasizes how important it is to live a life not by the number of things you accomplish, but by the quality and meaning of those things, is to reject what is unnecessary and focus on what is essential. This recalibration isn't just making everyday life easier, it's also a big change in how we think about success and personal satisfaction. One of the best ways to show personal freedom and honesty is to align our goals with our core values. This supports the Stoic idea that real happiness comes from living in line with one's nature and purpose. Oversharing. In a world where sharing information is common and often done without thinking, it's important to think about the risks of sharing personal details about our lives, especially those that involve relationships that are over. Stoicism, which stresses self-discipline and reason, makes us think about how important private and mutual respect are, even after a romantic relationship ends. When we share personal details about a past relationship with anyone, we risk not only invading their privacy, but also spreading stories and talk that can make people angry and confused. This kind of behavior doesn't help you get over a breakup. Instead, it can make the pain and disagreement last longer. Stoics teach us that we can only fix ourselves. Instead of looking for comfort or approval from other people when we're hurt, we should focus on what's going on inside ourselves. This process of reflection lets us look at our feelings and experiences and learn from them. This helps us become smarter and stronger. We protect our own and each other's honor and create a safe space for personal growth when we choose to keep some parts of our relationships private. Because of this, we should be careful about what we share and who we share it with. Withholding private and sensitive information is a way to show respect for yourself and others, which helps build a trusting and respectful atmosphere. Focusing on our own healing journey instead of wasting time on pointless conversations also makes it easier to get through hard times and rebuild ourselves stronger and smarter. When we think about sharing private information after a relationship, let us remember the Stoic saying, "We can't control what happens in the outside world, but we can control how we react to it." Not sharing these kinds of facts is a strong choice that protects privacy, upholds personal worth, and helps a deeper and more genuine emotional healing. Speaking up in public, keeping our cool in tight situations, is a task that tries not only our patience, but also our growth and self-control. Stoicism, which stresses balance and reason, can teach us a lot about how to turn our anger and rage into cool and confident conversation. It may seem normal to raise your voice in public, especially when you disagree with someone, but it usually doesn't help. This kind of response can make things worse and lead to an environment of hostility and rudeness. On the other hand, Stoic beliefs tell us to find balance and strength, saying that real strength comes from being able to deal with things that make us angry in a calm and firm way. It's important to stop and think before moving. This break gives you time to think about what you want to say instead of acting on emotion. This lets you come up with a thoughtful answer that not only ends the argument better, but also protects everyone's honor. To encourage bold communication, we need to say what we think and what we need in a clear and straight way, without being hostile or passive. It's about setting limits that are polite and having conversations that help people understand and value each other. This way of talking not only calms things down in a healthy way, but it also makes relationships stronger, making sure that everyone feels heard and respected. Additionally, learning to control your anger and turn your rage into useful conversation is a sign of respect for both yourself and others. We learn that even when things are hard, we can still choose a way that shows knowledge and kindness. So, by choosing cool and forceful communication, we not only avoid fights that aren't necessary, but we also live a more peaceful and balanced life, which is in line with Stoic ideas about how to live based on the reasoning and social nature of man. Spreading bad opinions about other people. Unfortunately, many social interactions still involve people spreading bad opinions about other people. Stoicism, on the other hand, takes a critical view of this behavior, pointing out how it can hurt not only our relationships, but also our own respect for ourselves. Someone's image is hurt when we say bad things about them, and our own character is shown when we do the same. This behavior shows that we often focus on the flaws of others to take our minds off of our own problems or fears. Stoics tell us that these kinds of actions can lead to a cycle of fear and hostility that weakens the basis of any good relationship. Stoic thought suggests that instead of holding on to bad views, we should show kindness. To show empathy, you have to try to understand the problems and situations that other people are going through, knowing that everyone has their own inner battle. We can better understand the complexities of man by taking an empathic stance, and we can also create an atmosphere of respect and trust between people. When we understand how others feel, we can build bridges instead of walls, which leads to stronger and more important connections. In this way of thinking, we can be less judgmental and more understanding, because we know that everyone is flawed and always growing and learning. In addition, when we choose to spread kindness and happiness, we show that we are polite and worthy of respect. This behavior not only makes our relationships with other people better, but it also brings us closer to the Stoic ideas of morality and moral purity. In the end, when we choose to replace criticism with empathy, we are choosing a road that makes us and those around us better. We are also ensuring a history of respect and honor in all of our interactions. Don't always compare yourself to others. The human urge to always compare ourselves to others can be a big source of unhappiness and anger. Stoicism, which stresses being self-sufficient and knowing our own worth and abilities, can help us avoid falling into the comparison trap and enjoy the uniqueness of our own journey. Comparing oneself to others, whether it's by position, belongings, or accomplishments, is often driven by an outside view of success that can pull us away from our real values and goals. This makes us less happy with life and can also make us forget about the things we've done well and the things that make us special. Stoics tell us that everyone has their own path, which is shaped by their own choices, actions, and situations. We shouldn't use other people as examples of what success looks like. Instead, we should focus on growing as people and enjoying our own wins and quirks. By practicing gratitude for the things we have and the progress we've made, we can find happiness that comes from within, not from outside sources. This way of thinking not only helps us feel better about our own self-worth, but it also frees us from having to live up to what other people expect of us. Also, when we accept how different we are more likely to choose a road that fits with who we are instead of one that is based on the accomplishments or way of life of others. This is one of the main ideas behind Stoicism, which says that being real and knowing yourself are important for living a worthwhile life. Giving up comparing ourselves to others all the time is not only a way to accept ourselves, it's also a powerful practice that makes our lives more free and joyful. As Stoics taught, noticing and praising our own journey makes us more unique and helps us grow a stronger, more true spirit. This is in line with how we overdo and unconsciously use social media. More and more people are worried about how much and often unconsciously they use social media. We can get stuck in a loop of non-stop content changes and easy access that not only wastes our time, but also hurts our mental health. The Stoic theory, which stresses balance and self-control, can help us look at how we use these digital tools and make changes as needed. When we use social media without meaning to, it can make us constantly compare ourselves to others, which can make us feel unhappy and not good enough. Because the internet is full of often unrealistic pictures of other people's lives, it can change how we see the real world and make us feel like we're always falling short of what others expect of us. The Stoics say that we should become more aware of how and why we use social media. Our reasons for using these sites should be questioned, and we should be honest about how they affect our health. We should not passively and constantly use technology. Instead, we should strive for a more aware and restricted involvement, setting clear limits to keep the digital world from taking over our real life. Setting limits on when we can check social media and sticking to them might be a good way to make sure that our use is both planned and limited. Additionally, picking to only follow content that educates and motivates us can change our social media experience from one of envy and discontent to one of learning and happiness. Being more thoughtful and picky about how you use social media is in line with Stoic ideas about self-control and judgment, and it also helps you live a healthier, more peaceful life. To live a more thoughtful and important life, we can train our ability to control our instant urges by choosing how we use technology. The constant need for approval from other people is a trap that can severely limit our freedom and honesty. In the world we live in now, where social standards and opinions are often exaggerated, it's easy to let other people's approval shape our actions and personalities. Stoic thought, on the other hand, tells us to think again about this dependence and to value our own ideals and inner voice very highly. Stoics tell us that real freedom and happiness don't come from being liked by other people, but from living in line with our nature and values. If other people's praise affects how we feel about ourselves and the choices we make, we give up our personal power and move away from the sincerity that makes us who we are. It's important to start having more faith in ourselves and our own decisions if we want to stop this need for outside approval. To do this, we have to keep thinking about ourselves and becoming more self-aware, which helps us understand and support our most basic values. When we listen to our inner voice more than what other people want, we start making choices that are in line with what we want and need. The Stoics also say that we should practice mental self-sufficiency, which means that we should find happiness and acceptance within ourselves instead of always looking for approval from others. By relying less on what other people think, we not only improve our character, but we also make ourselves more emotionally stable. We can live a more real life and be less affected by changes in public opinion if we put our own values first and look for approval from within. People often see perfectionism as a good way to strive for greatness, but it can really get in the way of your happiness and personal growth. Being obsessed with being perfect in every part of your life can cause a lot of stress, anger, and dissatisfaction. To lessen the effects of perfectionism, Stoic philosophy, which focuses on acceptance and reason, can be very helpful. The Stoics say that we should be aware of and accept our human flaws. Since man is inherently flawed, the search of perfection is doomed to failure. Stoics say that we shouldn't set goals that are impossible to reach. Instead, they say that we should focus on making progress and working hard all the time, and we should value the growth and learning that each experience can bring. Self-compassion is a very important thing to do in this process. We shouldn't be so hard on ourselves when we fail or make mistakes. Instead, we should treat ourselves with the same compassion and understanding that we would show a close friend. This method not only reduces the stress that comes with trying to be perfect, but it also encourages a healthy and more realistic view of personal growth. Additionally, accepting flaws is very important for living a real and truly happy life. When we accept that we are flawed and stop trying to change it, we make room for a more expansive and freeing experience of life. Realizing that perfection is a lie not only makes us less anxious and afraid of failing, but it also lets us enjoy every small victory along the way as we grow as people. Stoic principles say that if we replace perfectionism with self-compassion and acceptance of our flaws, we not only relieve internal pressure, but also create an environment that is better for real and less stressful personal growth. This is the way to a truly happy and fulfilled life where growth happens easily and is a prize. Holding on to unrealistic expectations is a bad habit that can cause constant disappointments and a skewed view of reality. If we want to be happy and successful, we need to check our expectations to make sure they are not only realistic, but also in line with our values and natural abilities. According to Stoic thought, we can change how we expect things to go in order to avoid being let down and live a more happy life. When we are idealistic and don't fully understand our own limits and the world around us, we often have unrealistic hopes. They can make us set goals that aren't in line with what we really want or that are too hard for us to reach right now. For Stoics, being wise means understanding and accepting our human conditions, such as our flaws and the fact that life is uncertain. Getting to know yourself is important if you want to set more realistic goals. To do this, we have to be honest about our skills, interests, and limits all the time. Knowing who we really are and what we can actually accomplish helps us lower our hopes and avoid the painful failures that come with setting goals that are too high. Also, being more open to change and flexible in how you handle situations can help you feel less stressed about meeting strict standards. Stoics think that being flexible is a virtue and teach us that we should be ready to change our plans and goals when life changes. Being flexible not only makes you less frustrated, but it also helps you stay calm and strong when things go wrong. By letting go of unrealistic ideals and taking a more realistic view based on self-awareness, we not only lower the chance of being let down, but we also make room to find and achieve goals that are truly important to us. This change in focus, which is in line with Stoic ideas, motivates us to live a more real and satisfying life, where success is measured not by reaching faraway goals, but by being in tune with our real abilities and wants. Instead of avoiding rumors and bad conversations, people who do them can have serious consequences for their own and the group's ethics. The act of talk, which is frequently perceived as a light-hearted form of social contact, can actually damage trust and respect within any community or group. Philosophies that stress morality and self-control, like Stoicism, tell us to think about the results of our actions and words and pick ways that make us more moral. By getting involved in gossip, we not only hurt our own reputations, but we also make the environment worse by fostering a climate of mistrust and judgment. Because talk often changes or embellishes the truth, this is especially harmful and could ruin someone's image forever and even break up relationships. Stoics, on the other hand, say that we should create an atmosphere of mutual respect and understanding. They teach us that we should only talk about other people when we have something good or helpful to say. People tell us that when we want to talk, we should think about how our words might affect others and ourselves, as well as whether they are true. To create a space where understanding and mutual respect are common, people must consciously moderate their speech and work to improve conversation. We can help build a stronger and healthier community by choosing to focus on the good things in life and not sharing hurtful or bad information. So, by refusing to take part in talk and supporting polite, caring conversation, we not only protect our own ethics, but also improve the well-being of everyone else. In a world where words and information are easily twisted and misread, this Stoic concept has a profound resonance. In today's busy world, have you ever thought about how to leave a memorable impression? Are you just one of many choices for her, or does she value you as much as you value her? It takes more than love and care to win a woman's respect and make her remember you. You need patience and a strong philosophy. It's possible that old Stoicism could be the key to a unique and successful plan. Stoicism isn't just an old philosophy, it's a potent guide for today's world, providing cutting-edge advice on how to build and maintain a happy relationship. From the ideas of Stoicism, let's look at 11 interesting tips you can use to please any woman, leave an impression that will last, and eventually build a stronger bond on your path to happiness together. First, don't get in touch with her. Guys who are interested in a woman often text, call, and try to stay in touch with her all the time. But here's something that might change the game for you. Being less open can make you much more appealing. It's not about playing games or being hard to find just for fun. It's about living by the Stoic concept of self-sufficiency. Stoicism teaches that it's better to be independent and find happiness within yourself instead of constantly looking for it outside sources, like a love interest's support or attention. When you cut down on the number of texts and calls you make, you're not just being difficult to get, you're showing that you have your own full and interesting life. She might be interested in, and even a little jealous of this change. She might start to wonder, what is he doing? Is he busy with something interesting? Is there someone else? These thoughts can make her think about you more and in more interesting ways. Let's say you used to text her every morning to wish her a good day. She will notice the difference if you stop doing this all the time and instead share short clips of fun things you're doing or accomplishments on a regular basis. Instead of just sitting around waiting for her texts, she'll see that you're busy and happy. This method also helps create a healthy environment where everyone's needs are met while still respecting each other's private lives. It shows that you are a serious person who doesn't need regular touch or encouragement to keep people interested. Being independent can make you look great. It makes you seem like someone worth going after, not just someone who is always available. By not being as available right away, you show that you are the Stoic ideal of mental and self-reliance, which makes her see you in a new, more interesting light. This doesn't mean you should stop talking to them, but make sure that when you do, it's important and shows that you have a full, active life. She may miss you and enjoy the times you do talk even more when you find this balance. Number 2, take her up on her offer. In the tricky game of attraction, it's normal for a woman to test the waters to see if you're interested. She might not want to be with you or play hard to get. For her, this isn't just a game. It's a test of how honest you are. Are you really interested, or are you just walking by? Taking ideas from Stoicism, let's think about this. Instead of focusing on making her your girlfriend, try living a moral life. You might not think it makes sense, but it works. Stoics stress how important it is to be independent and in control of yourself, which can be very appealing. For example, if yourself always agrees with her or tries to please her, you might come across as too eager or needy. That's not the point. Show that you are your own person instead. It's fine to disagree with someone or be adamant about what you believe. Being stubborn isn't the point. The point is to show confidence and self-assurance. You become more interesting when you show that you're not just another person easily swayed by her charm, but someone who can stand on their own. You're letting her know that you're interested in her without being too close. It is said in Stoic philosophy that what we are draws to us, not what we want. So if you show that you are independent and sure of yourself, you'll probably meet someone who values those traits. It's likely that she will become more interested in you as you stand your ground and keep your cool. She'll think more about you and what you're doing, and she might even miss having you around. Remember that the goal is a measured show of attention that is neither too close nor too far away. Making her feel attracted to and respected at the same time is what makes you someone she can't help but think about. Step 3. Show off your life. People who are into attraction often miss a very important truth. Live a life that other people want to be a part of. Focusing on your own growth and goals is a big part of Stoicism, which is where this idea comes from. Sharing bits and pieces of your interesting life, especially when you're not with the person you're interested in, will naturally make you more attractive. If she looks at your social media and only sees quiet spots, it might make her think that you're not doing much. But if the photos you post show how full your life is, like from a beautiful walk, a fun night out with friends, or a sport you really enjoy, you're not just filling up your feed, you're telling a story of a life well lived. Imagine sharing a photo of yourself reaching the top of a difficult trail or sharing moments from a last-minute car trip. These pictures don't need to be flashy or loud. They should just show how happy and interested you are in the world around you. Giving her a glimpse into your world so she can see you living and enjoying yourself is not about bragging or making her feel left out. This way of doing things sends the message in a subtle way that you're someone who enjoys life and finds happiness in their own hobbies and activities. It's the same as saying, "I'm here, living my best life," and it makes her feel amazed and maybe a little afraid of missing out, FOMO. She might start to wonder, what's so interesting about his life? Why am I not a part of it? This is a basic Stoic principle. Work on improving yourself first, and the rest will take care of itself. Because of how full your life is, she wants to know what it would be like to share those events with you. It's a modest but effective way to get her attention and make her miss having you in her life. You can do this by making her feel like she's missing out on something great by not being with you. 4. Don't pay attention to what she's telling you. When people are dating today, social media is often a place where they play subtle attention games. Let's say you've cut down on your texts to her to make room for silence. She might then start posting interesting pictures of you online or dropping hints about you in a way that makes you think, just to see what you do. This is an old move that is meant to keep you engaged all the time. Stoic philosophy says that the best thing to do is to do nothing in response to these efforts. Stoicism shows us how important it is to use self-control and not let outside events affect how we feel. Instead, we should react with well-thought-out reasoning. You are adopting a type of modern Stoicism by not giving in to these social media tricks. For example, you might want to like or comment on her post if she shares a beautiful picture from a recent trip or a status that seems to sneakily refer to a joke you two share. However, by choosing not to participate, you add mystery and self-assurance. She's looking for your comments or likes, and if she doesn't see them, she might be confused and interested. This silence tells her that you are not just another expected partner. You have your own life and are not just waiting for her to tell you what to do. To be cold with this move is not the point. It's to show that your attention is not so easily moved by obvious baits. That you are not desperately watching what she does on social media shows that you are grounded. This might make you look more interesting and appealing. You're not playing the normal games. You're making yourself stand out by showing that you need to be truly connected in order to earn someone's interest and attention. This kind of self-control shows that you follow the Stoic idea that we shouldn't let things outside our control bother us. Instead, we should focus on staying calm and honorable inside. This method could make her think about you in a very different way, which could make her more interested and drive her to want a deeper, more genuine relationship with you. 5. Share what you know with others. Teaching her something new is one way to make a mark that will last and make her miss you. This fits with Stoic ideas, which say that sharing information and being wise are very important. By telling her something wise, you're not only showing that you're smart, but also that you care about her and want to make her life better, which are both very attractive traits. Think about this. She might be interested in your sport or a subject that you're really excited about. Make the most of this chance to teach her something about it. Like, if you love gardening, you could show her how to set up her first vegetable garden. Spend an evening looking at the stars and telling people about the constellations if you are interested in astronomy. It's not just about teaching, it's also about spending time with them and getting to know them. People who can associate with others in this way show that they are smart, patient, and able to connect with others on a deeper level. It shows that you want to do more than just talk about yourself or boring topics. You want to give her interesting things to do. You can stand out as someone who makes her day more interesting and valuable by doing this. You can also make the times you spend with her more memorable by teaching her something new. A lot of the time, people remember and miss the times when they learned something important or had an experience that changed them forever. You become more than just another friend when she connects you with times of learning and growth. You become someone she looks forward to spending time with and learning from. This practice also improves your relationships by focusing on growth and understanding instead of shallow conversations. This not only makes the friendship stronger, but it also fits with the Stoic idea of improving both yourself and others, which can make bonds stronger and make your loss more felt when you're not there. By sparking her interest and making it easy for her to learn from your conversations, you establish yourself in her mind as someone interesting and necessary. By being thoughtful, you can make her love you even more and make her miss you when you're not around. If you're still with us after reading this far, please leave a comment below with your thoughts, or just type super if you like what you're reading. Your comments are very helpful and give us ideas for new videos. Let's keep going on this trip. 6th, stay calm when you're talking to someone. When she calls you after a long time of silence, this is your chance to really live by the Stoic principle of staying calm. It's tempting to answer with a lot of energy, which could give the impression that you've been looking forward to her message. Instead, a reserved person would respond with something cool and controlled, showing that they are glad to hear from her but don't need her attention too much. If she texts you after a while, for example, a simple, "Hey, how's it going?" is a great way to respond. It's warm and friendly without being too much. This answer shows that you've been busy with your own life, but you're still willing to connect. You should let her know that you value the conversation, but that it doesn't become your happiness or your daily life. This measured coolness isn't about playing games. It's about showing how confident and sure of yourself a Stoic is. Stoicism teaches that things happening in the outside world, such as someone's message or lack of message, shouldn't affect our inner peace and sense of self-content. You make yourself more interesting and desirable by reacting in a calm and unconcerned way. In a subtle way, this shows her that even though you're interested in her, your life is full and interesting on its own. At times, this can be very appealing, indicating that you have depth, strength, and the freedom to enjoy life on your own. Being attractive in these ways often makes someone more desirable because it shows that they have more to offer than just surface-level interest. You can show that you are mature and respect her by keeping your cool and replying in a simple way. This shows that you see her as an equal partner in this conversation and not just someone to be won over. This respectful attitude, which comes from the Stoic philosophy, often leads to a deeper and longer-lasting interest, which keeps her coming back to experience more of your calm, thoughtful presence. 7th, keep the talk in check. When you first meet someone or start a relationship, you might want to tell her everything about your day whenever she shows interest. To take a more Stoic view, though, think about the virtues of balance and control. When she asks about your day or life, it's best to hold back a bit. Tell her just enough to make the talk interesting without giving her all the details. It's not about playing games or being hard to find. It's about keeping the space between you healthy. If she asks you how your weekend was, you could say something like, "It was great, got to recharge and catch up on some reading." This leaves the door open for her to ask more questions if she wants to, but it also lets her know that your life is full and balanced without you having to go into every detail. This shows that you care about both her interests and your own privacy, and that you value the quality of your relationships more than the amount of information you share. It's a modest nod to the Stoic idea that inner peace comes from controlling our reactions and relationships, not from getting approval from others or talking too much. Also, if you're not an open book, you naturally create an air of wonder and depth. People are pulled to things they don't fully understand or know because they make them want to learn more and explore. By sharing few details, you show that you are sure of the worth of your life and don't need constant approval from others to feel good about it. This can make you more interesting and beautiful because it shows that you are thoughtful and able to take care of yourself. This also shows that you don't see her as someone you have to answer to, but as someone you want to spend time with, giving her and yourself both time. By keeping this balance, you'll be more likely to keep her interested in learning more about you, which will lead to a deeper and longer-lasting relationship. Number 8. Make surprise a part of your life. Stoicism may make you think of calm and steady behavior, but it also teaches you how to use your mind to make life better, even in relationships. One good way to get closer to someone is to surprise them with thoughtful acts of kindness every once in a while. This method isn't just meant to get her excited, it's also meant to show that you care about what she wants and interests her. Think about the power of actions you wouldn't expect. If she said she likes art, give her tickets to a new show at a nearby gallery as a surprise. If she loves being outside, take her on a day trip to a nearby nature area that she hasn't been to yet. The worth of these shocks lies in the thought that went into them and the fun that they bring because they are unexpected. From these moments on, she looks forward to being with you and is always wondering what fun treat is just around the corner. This makes things interesting in the relationship. Think about how she'll feel when she finds out you've planned a trip to a place she's always wanted to see. Giving her a treat shows that you heard her and care about her happiness enough to make it happen. In modern times, these acts show a Stoic principle. We can't control everything in life, but we can control how we make the people we care about happy. By planning these gifts, you're making times of happiness and showing that you want to improve the relationship. You'll enjoy the time you spend with her even more, and she'll miss you and think about you when you're not there. On top of that, these surprises make her think that you bring good surprises into her life. We're not trying to throw them off, but rather to make the way you show your love more meaningful. Each surprise can be a great part of the story you're both telling each other. It will strengthen your relationship and make her look forward to what the future holds for the two of you. Number 9. Learn to like mysteries. A little surprise can go a long way in partnerships. A good story builds up slowly, which keeps the reader interested. The story of who you are can do the same. Stoic lessons promote not only self-control, but also a slow, careful reveal of one's character and ideals over time. This fits in well with those ideas. Instead of showing her everything about you right away, let her learn about your personality, skills, and interests one piece at a time. You could, for example, hint at a drawing skill or an exciting event from the past, but save the specifics for a later talk. By slowly giving out bits and pieces of information about yourself, each contact is full of new things that could be learned, which makes you more interesting and makes your time together more anticipated. This method of slow reveal appeals to people's natural desire to learn new things and be curious. When you reveal just enough to keep her interested without giving away too much, you create a constant sense of surprise. It's like leaving clues that lead her through a forest. Each step makes her more excited about the trip and interested in it. Keeping some things a secret can also help build a respectful space that is often attractive. The importance of self-sufficiency and not bothering other people too much with our appearance or personal details are lessons we can learn from Stoicism. When you keep some things from people, you show that you are someone with depth that is hard to figure out at first look. She might want to learn more about you because of this, creating an interest that is hard to copy. On one date, for instance, you might lightly say that you're interested in science. Say nothing about it until she brings it up again. Then you could plan a date to look at the stars and talk more about this interest. Being careful and slow when you share shows that you are interesting and thoughtful about how you share yourself with others. Because you're being smart, every time I meet you, I get to peel back another layer of the onion, so to speak. Every new thing she learns about you makes her picture of you better, and when you're not together, she's excited to see what else she can learn about you. This is how you can keep her thinking about you, making her miss you more each time you leave and eagerly anticipating your next surprise. 10th, encourage people to be humble and participate in talks. It's easy to get stuck in the me attitude, where your own stories and accomplishments take over the conversation without meaning to. But Stoicism teaches the virtue of humility and how important it is to listen, both of which are very important for making sure that both people in a relationship feel respected. When you talk to her, try to find a good mix between telling her about your own experiences and genuinely wanting to know about hers. It's not just about not taking over the conversation. It's about having a worthwhile conversation where both of you feel heard and valued. Say you just told her about a camping trip you went on. Now, turn the talk around and ask her about her own outdoor activities or hobbies. This fair way of talking to her shows that you care about her as a person, not just as someone who listens to your stories. By listening well, you show that you care about and value her experiences and thoughts, which is an important part of the Stoic ideal of focusing on the outside world as well as the inside. The time she spends with you will be more remembered and satisfying because of this. She'll miss you when you're not there. Additionally, if you avoid being too self-centered, you will appear more appealing. People are pulled to those who listen to them and make them feel important. She will remember how you made her feel appreciated and respected when she thinks back on her time with you, which are both very beautiful traits. This practice of engaging with each other also leads to a stronger relationship. She's more likely to open up and tell you more personal stories when you're interested in her life. This builds trust and closeness. She'll remember these times with fondness and miss them because they show how well you can connect with her beyond simple talk. By taking a more calm stance and focusing on not only sharing yourself, but also getting to know her and appreciating her, you become someone she not only likes being with, but also looks forward to seeing again. In this way, she will value and miss your company, which will strengthen your relationship every time you see each other. 11th, make people jealous in a good way. A little jealousy can help you remember how valuable you are in the social market, but it needs to be treated carefully and precisely, just like any other powerful thing. In line with Stoic ideas, this way of doing things is similar to keeping control of our actions and using them to show our self-respect and honor. You should show her, not just tell her, that your life is full and happy with or without her, which can easily make her more interested. Think about this. You're out having fun with your friends and you decide to share a picture on social media. In the picture, you're laughing, the place looks friendly, and there's a female friend in the background. But be careful not to draw attention to yourself. It's not a sexual pose, just a picture of friends having fun. When you tag your friend every once in a while, it naturally makes them curious without crossing any lines. This method isn't meant to make her think you're interested in someone else or make her feel bad. It's meant to show that you're someone that people, including women, like being around. This might make her see you differently, as someone else she wants, which could make her more interested in you. It's a nice way to tell her that she likes you, and that if she's really interested, she might want to see more clearly what she likes about you. The conservative view, on the other hand, would warn against using jealousy as your main tactic. Stoicism tells us to build relationships based on shared understanding and respect, not on trickery. So, this strategy should only be used rarely and always, with the goal of staying real and true to oneself. It's not about playing games. It's about giving people a look into your life that makes them feel like they are important, which is a natural way to attract people. This way also gives her a more complete picture of how you interact with other people. It makes you seem like a valuable person in other people's eyes, which makes you more beautiful. She finds you interesting because she doesn't know who these other people are or what they like about you. This may make her more interested in finding out how she fits into your life, not to force her to compete, but to show her how exciting and full your world is and make her want to be a part of it. Do you ever feel uncomfortable when someone praises you in a way that makes you feel bad? You might think that someone cares too much about your tragedy. It can be hard to deal with envy and lies in today's world, but don't worry. Stoicism's wisdom shows you how. Epicus, a famous philosopher, tells us that what bothers you is not what happens to you, but how you think about it. We can have better, more satisfying relationships if we improve our judgment and learn to spot the minor signs of envy and lying. This part goes into detail about 13 Stoic ideas that will help you see clearly through anger and lying. We'll talk about how to spot people who spread lies and how to tell the difference between real compliments and insults that are masked. The first one is the barbed compliment. Stoicism is a school of thought that stresses reason, virtue, and clear communication. It places a lot of value on open and honest language. A famous Roman philosopher named Seneca said that the only way to be truly happy is to enjoy the present without worrying about the future and to be content with what you have. That's all you need. On the other hand, Navigating social situations can sometimes feel like going to a market full of attacks that are hidden as compliments. People who are jealous may use a technique similar to the Socratic sting, in which they say things that seem nice but really represent negative feelings. Imagine a friend writing you a letter of praise on your promotion and saying, "That promotion was lucky, but you'll do great." At first glance, this may seem like a happy message, but a closer look reveals a sneaky attempt to downplay your achievement. Some signs point to the fact that your success may not have been due to your skills or hard work, but to a lucky break. When you compare these backhanded praises to real statements of thanks, they make you feel bad and last for a long time. Stoic philosophy says that real praise is specific and says nice things about your accomplishments without any conditions. They make you feel proud and confident, and they also motivate and inspire you. To build good relationships, you need to be able to tell the difference between real praise and complaints that are meant to hurt you. By learning from Stoicism's knowledge and getting better at noticing things, we can learn to read the small clues that show what someone is really trying to say. Are the words they use to praise you in line with how they act? If someone compliments you, does it seem real and passionate, or does it seem empty and dull? By using our better sense, we can navigate the social scene and stay safe from people who might be jealous but seem friendly. If we ask these questions about the social setting and use philosophical reasoning. The second one is selective support. The Stoic philosophy stresses how important it is to be consistent and reliable in interactions. A famous Stoic thinker and Roman emperor named Marcus Aurelius stressed how important it was to work for the general good, which includes building healthy, helpful relationships with other people. In the same way that the Stoics imagined their friends, real friends are always there to cheer you on and enjoy your successes, no matter how big or small they are. They stay by your side, giving you support when things get tough and truly enjoying your wins. On the other hand, navigating the complexity of human relationships can sometimes reveal people who only back certain people and change their loyalties based on the situation. These people, who are often jealous, will be happy about your successes if they help them get ahead or look good in front of others. On the other hand, your problems may go away or become less important when you face them. Their help depends on keeping up a certain image or social dynamic instead of a real concern for your health, which needs to be changed. Imagine having a friend who is thrilled about your raise and the extra money or status it brings, but they act strangely distant when you tell them about how hard your job is or how many hours you have to work. Instead of the unflinching commitment that Stoicism encourages, this kind of limited support is a very bad sign. This is also what true friends believe. They help not out of a desire for personal gain or social posturing, but out of a sincere concern for your well-being, just as the Stoics believed in the value of virtue and acting with integrity. If we know what makes limited support work, we can make our interactions better and more satisfying. Stoics put a lot of weight on reason, which helps us see trends in how we interact with other people. Does the way a friend feels about you change based on what you're going through? They're there to celebrate your wins, but leave when things get tough. People who truly embody the heart of friendship can be identified by using calm reasoning. We feel safe and trusting in our social networks because of people like these who are always there for us. Third, the body turns against you. Epictetus, a proponent of self-awareness and a forerunner of Stoicism, says, "The main task in life is simply this, to identify and separate matters so that I can clearly say to myself, which are externals, not under my control, and which have to do with the choices I control." Epictetus is thought to be the founder of Stoicism. Stoics believed that it was important to be very aware of oneself and able to read people's body language, even though we can't change how other people act or feel. Body language or non-verbal cues can show how someone is feeling, especially when they don't match up with what they say. Imagine that someone tells you how proud they are of something you recently did. They try to smile, but their lips get tight and their stance stays stiff. The way they talk shows that they care and are passionate. The way they shake hands may not be strong or long, and it doesn't show the warmth that their words suggest. This difference between what someone says and how they act can be a warning sign, a slight betrayal that shows they may be feeling things that aren't so good. We suggest that you think about this. For example, someone may say, "Congratulations," out loud, but their body language might not instantly show that they are jealous. Their body language might say something different. As a way to help us focus on what we can control, the Stoics stress the importance of reason and review. Unfortunately, we can't change the other person's hidden thoughts or feelings at this time. However, we do have control over our own feelings and thoughts. We don't have to take their praises at face value. We can act with a fair amount of caution. Stoicism tells us to improve our ability to observe and understand other people's emotions by noticing when their words and body language don't match up. Paying attention to silent cues and learning how to understand them in the context of the situation can teach us a lot about how people really connect with each other. Because of this ability to determine, we can handle social situations with more awareness, which lets us spot possible jealousy or dishonesty that might not have been mentioned otherwise. The fourth one is the poisons of comparison. If you want to follow the Stoic philosophy, you should focus on finding inner happiness and accepting things that are out of your control. We are more bothered by fantasy than by reality, warns Seneca, a famous Roman sage. When thinking about how damaging comparison can be, this advice is especially useful. Jealousy often stirs up comparison, which is a deadly mix. People who are jealous may constantly compare themselves to others, exaggerate their successes in order to later downplay them, or engage in self-promotion by exaggerating their successes. Imagine a close friend who is thrilled to tell you about a recent honor you've gotten. Then, in their conversations afterward, they joke around about how much the prize is worth, or talk about similar but slightly overblown things they have done. This behavior pattern shows the harmful effects of comparison, which is the constant need for approval from others that destroys your sense of success and your chances of making real relationships. Stoic philosophy says that real friends can be happy for each other's successes without feeling bad about themselves. They know that everyone has a unique road, and that all achievements, no matter how big or small, should be recognized and praised. We can find happiness in our growth and progress if we practice quiet acceptance. By focusing on the here and now and the work we put into our goals, we can experience inner peace, which is a powerful remedy for the harms that come from comparing things. We build a sense of community and shared success when we celebrate our own adventures and the adventures of others. This helps us change our jealousy feelings into feelings of support based on facts. Stoics thought that we can find real happiness inside by aligning our actions with virtue and living a meaningful life. People who try to bring down our achievements by comparing them to others are less likely to be able to trick us. Instead of focusing on the things we can control, like our thoughts, actions, and feelings, we should work on building a sense of self-worth that lets us enjoy other people's successes without feeling bad about ourselves or envious. Stoicism teaches us how to make stronger and more meaningful bonds with others based on mutual respect and admiration. Fifth, the starts of a fight. Stoicism is a philosophy that is based on reason, virtue, and mental endurance. It can help you a lot when you're dealing with difficult people. The idea of the split of control is one of the main ideas behind Stoicism. It helps us remember to tell the difference between things we can control and things we can't. This idea is emphasized by Epictetus, one of the most important Stoics, who said, "Freedom is the power to choose." We find freedom when we can choose how to react to the world around us, not when we try to control other people's actions or words. People who like to spread lies or bad things about others often have problems with jealousy or fear. Their fixation on bad things, which is often caused by these deep-seated emotions, can be very destructive in these kinds of relationships. Some people may try to make you stand out by sharing stories or drawing attention to flaws they see in you. This will make your social groups feel divided and hurt trust among each other. Because they value making bad relationships over maintaining good ones, these people probably won't be able to help you in a useful way. According to the Stoics, we should surround ourselves with positive and inspiring people who cheer us on when we've done well and help us through hard times. We build relationships with good-natured people to create settings that are helpful and encouraging. Drawing attention to the things we can control, like our thoughts, words, and actions, makes it easier for us to handle bad scenarios more effectively. Imagine that someone talks badly about a friend that they both have in common. Based on the Stoic idea of the split of control, it is important to understand that this is an attempt to cause conflict. Even though we can't change the person who is sharing stories, we can choose how to respond to them. Possessing a calm attitude would mean politely refusing to join the negative conversation and changing the subject to something more positive. By choosing not to talk, we protect our mental health and keep from spreading negativity. To put it simply, Stoic philosophy gives us the tools to create a more positive and calm environment. By focusing on making positive connections, choosing not to take part in negativity, and focusing on things we can control, we give ourselves the power to deal with the problems that come up in relationships and to build a social circle that supports our growth and well-being. On the sixth spot is the Siren Song of Flattery. Stoic philosophy is based on reason and judgment, which help us handle the complexities of everyday social relationships. A famous Stoic thinker and Roman emperor named Marcus Aurelius tells us not to waste any more time arguing about what a good man should be like. A nice praise can make us feel good, but too much of it can be like a siren's call that makes us vulnerable to being manipulated. Getting better at calm judging is the only way to get past this social obstacle. For example, let's say you have a new friend who praises your work so much that it seems like they're exaggerating. They might call you a genius or a wonder to praise your intelligence without taking into account the details of your accomplishments or the amount of work that went into them. People with secret goals might see this as a warning sign when someone flatters them too much. They want to get your trust or use your kindness against you. Real comments are specific and focus on the best things about you, just the way the Stoics thought they should be. A real praise might point out a certain skill you showed in your work, or say nice things about how much attention and effort you put into a project. Because these words are sincere and positive, they help the person who receives them feel proud and successful. Stoic reason is needed to tell the difference between real praise and lies that is meant to trick. Is this praise one of a kind and true, or is it general and over the top? Does the person who is complimenting me seem to have a secret agenda, or do they seem truly interested in the work I have done? By using our mental skills and carefully watching what the other person does, we can see through the lies and get to the real meaning behind what they say. Stoic philosophy stressed the importance of living a good life and being honest in everything you do. In this way, it also applies to how we talk to other people. By using these ideas and getting better at recognizing when someone is being flattering, we can avoid giving in to its charm. We can see unfair tactics for what they are and learn to value honest praise at the same time. By being honest and respectful with each other, we may be able to build better and more important connections. Seventh, making your light less bright. In the Stoic philosophy, there is a lot of talk about how important it is to recognize and value your own worth. People who follow the Stoic philosophy say that Epicurus said, "It's not that we have a short time to live, rather that we waste a lot of it." Life gives us plenty of time and money to do the most important things, as long as we use them wisely. If you are very sure of your ideals, you can protect yourself from people who want to downplay your accomplishments. When it comes to partnerships, envy can be a very sneaky but very bad thing. People who are jealous may do things that make their accomplishments seem less important, which takes away the pleasure and happiness they earn. They might downplay your accomplishments by saying they were just luck, an outside force, or that you were in the right place at the right time. Because of these sneaky attempts to dim your light, you might start to doubt your skills and the value of the work you do. How would it feel to enjoy a raise with a friend? Despite this, they stay negative during the whole party. They might say something like, "Wow, that promotion came out of nowhere. You're lucky." This phrase makes you less likely to work hard to succeed, even though it doesn't seem to mean anything. Stoics, on the other hand, say that we should be proud of what we've accomplished and enjoy the journey that got us there. Stoicism says that real friends help you by being by your side and enjoying your wins. They not only recognize the hard work and dedication that went into your successes, but they also show their real admiration without any conditions. Their support will give you a huge sense of accomplishment and give you more strength in your abilities. If you know more about your own worth and the work you put into reaching your goals, you will be better able to spot attempts to dim your light. Stoicism puts a lot of weight on knowing yourself, and these methods can help you tell the difference between honest feedback and jealousy that is hidden. It's important to remember that your achievements show how dedicated and persistent you are. Make sure that no one can take away the joy that you have gained by doing well. To develop a good sense of self-worth, the Stoic philosophy will give you the tools you need. Recognizing your own worth and being grateful for the journey you've been on can help you build an inner strength that isn't affected by other people's negativity. You'll be able to handle relationships smarter and build a natural support system that praises your abilities. Number 8. Broken vows and sands that move. Living a good life and handling oneself honestly are central to the Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius, a famous Stoic thinker and Roman emperor, said, "The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately." This basic idea is important to keep in mind when interacting with other people, since being consistent and trustworthy are key to building strong, long-lasting relationships. People who regularly break their promises or give weak excuses for their bad behavior could be compared to changing sands. They are not a reliable foundation for building a strong relationship. Think about a friend who often breaks plans at the last minute and gives weak or useless reasons. If someone is consistently unreliable, it could be a red flag because it shows they don't care about your time or feelings. Stoics thought that people should live their lives with ethics, which means that what they do should match what they say. If someone regularly breaks their promises, it means that their deeds don't match up with what they said they would do. Surrounding yourself with people you can trust and who will hold you responsible is one of the best ways to build good relationships. Stoicism was a school of thought that said true friends would show their love for each other by what they do. These people are trusted sources of help because they keep their promises and show up when they say they will. Since they are honest, the relationship is one of trust and safety, so you can depend on them and believe what they say. In order to get along with other people, you need to be able to tell the difference between real dependability and empty claims. Stoic philosophy tells us to look for similarities in the way people treat each other. does a friend of yours often not show up for plans? What do you think? Do you think their reasons are dishonest or self-serving? Stoic reasoning and judgment can help us spot people who are honest and trustworthy. People like these are in charge of building strong, reliable relationships, which in turn helps us feel safe and stable in our social groups. Keep in mind that we can't know what will happen in the future, but what we do in the present can change the way we connect with others. We have built a base of trust and reliability by choosing to surround ourselves with people who represent Stoic ethics. Because of this, we are better able to handle difficult social situations and make real connections that will last a lifetime. 9. The heart that needs help. Stoicism is a school of thought that stresses developing mental freedom and dependency on oneself. Stoicism puts a lot of weight on reason, virtue, and being able to handle your feelings. One of the most important Roman Stoics, Seneca, is said to have said, "How much more grievous are the things we fear than those we suffer." This is useful information when thinking about the complexities of relationships and the risks of relying on others emotionally. Most of the time, people who are always looking for approval from others are having problems with their self-esteem. People who take advantage of their need to be accepted by others can easily take advantage of them because they are easily swayed. Think about someone in your social group who needs to be reassured and praised all the time. The way other people feel about them seems to affect how happy they are, and they may lie or even manipulate others to get what they want. If someone needs praise all the time, it could be hard on them mentally, which could lead to a feeling of not being real in the relationship. Stoics thought that real friends would value your honesty and enjoy how special you are. They see your inherent worth and value the unique perspective you bring, which helps build safety and respect. If you work on building your mental freedom and sense of self-worth, you will be less vulnerable to the tricks people who are always looking for praise use to get what they want. Stoicism puts a lot of emphasis on knowing yourself, which helps you understand your mental needs. Do you feel like you need to be validated by other people all the time? How do the opinions of other people affect your sense of self-worth? You may build inner strength and self-reliance by becoming aware of these trends. Stoicism tells us that happiness comes from within and that we can find it by practicing virtue and letting our core beliefs guide our actions. Focusing on our own growth and development can help us feel less reliant on approval from other people to boost our sense of self-worth. This emotional freedom gives us more control over our relationships and helps us build partnerships based on true love and respect for each other. Remember that we often have the inner strength to get through the bad things that happen in life. You can build mental strength and self-reliance by studying Stoic philosophy. Building up your inner strength and accepting who you are will make you less easy to manipulate and help you form stronger, more important connections with others based on trust and honesty. Number 10. The words of your gut. Stoicism is a school of thought that places a premium on virtue, reason, and emotional intelligence. Stoicism understands that both reasoning and feeling are important for figuring out how to get along with other people. Even though the Stoics value reason, they also know how important intuition or gut feeling is. Epicus, a famous figure in Stoic philosophy, said, "The greatest danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss it, but that it is too low and we reach it." This quote shows how important it is to set high goals for ourselves and be aware of situations that might not be in our best interests. When it comes to making decisions, intuition, which is a nudge from the inside that is often slight, could be very useful. Picture yourself meeting someone new who is full of compliments but still makes you feel nervous. Even if they say something positive, there is still a feeling that something is wrong, like a mental awareness that something isn't quite right. If you ignore your gut, you might miss signs that something is wrong. The Stoics believed that you should use both your reason and your instincts to make good decisions. It is possible to give careful thought to the people you choose to spend time and energy with. You can use both of these traits when making decisions if you use calm logic and trust your gut. Recognize your gut. When speaking with someone, you should first recognize your instincts. It's important to pay attention to the first feelings you have. When they were around, have you ever felt worried or on guard? Unease needs to be looked into, even if it doesn't always mean that danger is close. Use your brains. Don't totally ignore your gut feelings. Instead, use your stubborn strength to think things through and look at the situation clearly. Do you find that certain words or deeds make you feel unhappy at certain times? Please write down what they say and how their actions match up with what they say. Is there a trend of something not being right that could explain how you feel in your gut? To get more information, ask questions. Sometimes, a simple conversation is all it takes to understand something. When you talk about your problems, ask them questions and pay attention to how they answer. People who are honest will be happy to do that. Stoics believed that people should talk to each other in an open and honest way. Your first opinion may be strengthened if their answers seem strange or dishonest to you. You can build a strong sense of judgment by depending on your gut and using Stoic logic. You can handle social situations better and see potential problems coming. At first, your conscious mind might not pay attention to your gut, but it's a guide that can help you find healthy, satisfying relationships. Stoic reason is the roadmap that will help you get through problems with other people. In order to build trust and honesty in your interactions, you can use both of these things. Number 11. Share your knowledge properly. The virtue of caution and the strength of clear communication are also highlighted in the Stoic philosophy. Renowned Roman philosopher Seneca tells us, "We are more often scared than hurt, and we suffer more from our thoughts than from reality." This wise saying stresses how important it is to be careful about who we share our thoughts and weaknesses with. When we talk to people without thinking, even if they seem confident, we leave ourselves open to being manipulated. Picture yourself going through a tough time in your personal life and telling someone who seems willing to help you what's going on. Once some time has passed, though, you realize that they were either sharing false information about your situation or taking advantage of your frailty to hurt you. This example shows how important it is to have calm caution, which means being able to pick and choose what information to share and with whom. You can protect yourself from people who are jealous or who might take advantage of your trust for their own gain if you choose to be conservative and calm. If you share private information with people who are dishonest or jealous, you might feel open and your image could suffer. Stoics thought that trust could be built through real relationships and doing what is right. The idea behind Stoicism is that real friends are those who earn your trust through their actions and offer support without making judgment. You can learn to speak with silent control in a number of ways. Before you share private information, think about who you're talking to. Think about the person you gave the money to before. Have they shown that they can be trusted and care about others? Has there been a past of lies or betrayals in the family? Stoic thinking helps you think about the pros and cons of sharing private information by giving you a way to weigh your choices. Don't forget that you only have control over the words and actions you choose to use. Nobody but you can change how other people react to the information you give them or how they choose to use it. By exercising your judgment, you lower the chance that bad things will happen due to events outside your control. Clarity in communication. If you do decide to share something personal, make sure you say it in a way that is clear and easy to understand. This includes yourself. Be careful not to give out any more information that could cause confusion or be used against you. Stoics believe that speech should be clear at all times, whether it's about the subject or the way you say it. Stoicism teaches you how to be more wise and careful in social situations, as well as how to choose who to confide in. To protect yourself from bad effects and build trust, surround yourself with people who have shown they deserve it. Remember that real relationships are built on being honest and letting others see your weaknesses. But if you're smart, you can share your weakness with people who will value it instead of taking advantage of it. In this way, you can build stronger and more meaningful relationships based on shared respect and support. 12. Limits and limits. Stoicism is a way of thinking that stresses the importance of reason, virtue, and mental strength. To protect one's well-being, Stoicism strongly suggests setting suitable limits. Epictetus, one of the most important people in Stoic philosophy, says that we can have happiness and freedom only if we know one thing for sure: we can control some things and not others. Before we can start to find peace, we need to finally accept this as true. We can set limits that protect our feelings and help us connect with others better. Because of this basic idea, which applies directly to social relationships, it's possible that being around a friend who acts in a hurtful or manipulative way drains you all the time. They talk to you with a constant atmosphere of pessimism, or they may quietly push you into situations that make you feel bad. Even though the Stoics believed in mental toughness, that doesn't mean that you should put your health last to deal with bad situations. You can put some space between yourself and people who are draining or manipulative by setting limits. Stay away from people who are always putting you down or making you feel unsafe. It's okay to limit your interactions with them. Instead of cutting yourself off from the rest of the world, make friends who will back and encourage you. Setting limits is not the same as cutting yourself off from the world. It helps you deal with complicated relationships without putting your safety or health at risk, just like the Stoics did when they learned to be mentally strong when things went wrong. To put Stoic ideas into practice when setting limits, here are some examples. Understand your music needs. Recognize. The first thing you should do is figure out what you need and what makes a relationship impossible for you. How do your habits make you feel tired? If someone tries to treat you badly, what would you say? You can clearly state your limits if you have a good understanding of what you want. Make sure your conversation is clear and fair. When you set limits, it's important to make sure your words are clear, firm, and polite. Please describe how you feel when certain actions happen and what changes you hope to see in the relationship. The Stoics thought that conversation that was open and honest was very important. This idea also refers to having boundaries. Remember to stay determined. Setting limits is an ongoing process. You might have to go back to your old habits if someone tries to stop you or manipulates you. The Stoics stress how important it is to stay determined and true to your views. When someone tries to push your limits, you shouldn't be afraid to say no or leave the situation. Setting limits and putting your own mental health first will help you create a setting that is good for healthy relationships. The Stoic philosophy can help you improve your social skills by giving you a sense of inner strength and the tools you need to handle social situations with more self-control. It is important to remember that limits are not walls that separate you from other people. Instead, they are the Stoic shield that protects your health and lets you make deeper, more meaningful connections. Number 13. Taking care of the yard. The Stoic philosophy puts a lot of weight on living a good life that makes a big difference for the greater good. Roman emperor and famous Stoic thinker Marcus Aurelius tells us not to waste more time arguing about what a good man should be like. When it comes to social relationships, the term be one uses this basic idea to urge us to make real connections that help ourselves and those around us. Like a farmer takes care of a place so it grows, we can create a social space that helps people grow and feel like they've accomplished something. Think about being around people who push you to be the best version of yourself. When things get tough, they're there to support you and celebrate your wins, and they have all the good qualities you look up to. According to Stoic philosophy, the strongest defense against the damaging effects of envy and lying is the bonds that people have with each other. Putting yourself around negative people can drain your energy over time. On the other hand, having a group of positive friends can give you strength and motivation. We make a good setting for our personal growth when we spend time and effort making real relationships with other people. Stoicism says that true friends are like screens that show us our skills and give us helpful comments when we need it. Of course, they also respect the unique paths that each of us has taken while encouraging us to become better people. The Stoic ideal of living a life of virtue, improving constantly, and striving for the highest level of success is exactly matched by this. The rules of the Stoics can help you grow your social garden in a number of ways. Because authenticity is the key to real relationship, it is important to plant the seeds of sincerity. Be honest with yourself about what you believe and what interests you. The Stoics thought that being good would inspire others to be good too, and being real will attract people who share your beliefs. Like a garden, relationships need care and attention, just like a garden does. Being kind, polite, and understanding to the people around you is important. The Stoics put a lot of weight on emotional intelligence and told us to understand and think about other people's points of view. It's important to celebrate variety because a garden needs a lot of different plant types to do well. Also, including a lot of different ideas and events is good for making friends and building a strong social group. The Stoics thought that everyone should live in a way that helps everyone else, and that meant valuing the different ways that people can connect with each other. You can build a social setting that supports your growth and the growth and well-being of those around you by making real links and surrounding yourself with positive influences. Stoicism teaches you the skills you need to find meaning and satisfaction in the people you interact with. It's important to remember that a garden full of life is beautiful and full of plenty, giving people a regular crop of support, inspiration, and shared happiness. By making real relationships with other people, you can create a thriving social setting that fits nicely with the Stoic goal of living a good life. It is important to remember that being able to spot anger and lying in others helps you make smart choices about your relationships. You can cultivate a life marked by virtue, inner strength, and tranquility by becoming aware of these warning signs and using Stoic knowledge.